It's Time Warner Cable's local edition. I'm Brad Pomerance, and Ken Kraft is back. He is the executive director of Hope of the Valley Rescue Mission. You know, many of us have seen the videos of homeless folks having left the hospital, being dumped in Skid Row. It's illegal, but it happens. Yet there is a new innovative approach to prevent that type of behavior. Talk to us about recuperative care and what you're looking to do for the homeless.
Well, it was Kaiser Permanente that came to me, and they've had their issues of dumping many years ago. They fixed their problems, but they said, Ken, we have a real problem. We don't have anywhere for homeless patients to go. Once they meet discharge criteria, where do they go? And so they end up holding them in the hospitals, and oftentimes people that need those hospital beds can't get into them. And so we said, you know what, we're going to develop a system, and it's called recuperative care. They're doing it nationally, but we're going to do it right here in the San Fernando Valley so that the 17 area hospitals that are here locally will be able to take their patients that are homeless upon discharge, bring them to us. We will staff it with LVNs, RNs, CNAs, and we will work with them to move them into permanent housing, but we will now have a solution so there is no need for any hospital to ever dump someone back on the streets again. Stunning
development. I mean, just remarkable and long overdue, no doubt. Tell us exactly about the facility. I understand it will have 30 beds. Tell us more.
Yeah, well, having the right facility is very important because if you're going to be offering services, it has to be fully fire sprinklered, life safety issues, and we're also opening up a full commercial catering kitchen so we can serve meals anywhere in the valley, open up satellite shelters. It's going to have a community clinic, but the main component is this shelter, and it has 30 beds. They're private bedrooms. Okay, so what'll happen, so when a hospital is ready to discharge a patient, they'll actually bring them to us. We'll take them in, we'll assign them a bed, and then immediately they'll be assigned a case manager and a social worker. So while they're recovering from their illness or their injury, we are immediately working with them to end their homelessness. I mean, if either you or I were injured and we went to the hospital upon discharge, they'd call a significant other and they'd say, come pick them up, they're ready to go home. We'd go home and they'd usher us to a bed, and then for the next 2 days or 2 weeks, we would rest until we get back to full health. But when you're homeless, you don't have a home to go to. So in essence, we become that home that the hospitals can discharge them to, and then we will provide all the basic services and home health care as well to get them back on their feet.
Right, but the question is, oftentimes they landed in the hospital because of self-neglect. And I'm not blaming anyone. It's just, they have faced significant challenges. So now they're on the other end of their illness, which, some could argue has been as a result of neglect. How do you then put them on a path so they don't fall into that same pattern of illness and poor health?
Yeah, and the Affordable Care Act has some provisions in it that actually penalize local hospitals for what they call frequent flyers, people that keep coming back into the hospital instead of actually creating a solution to end the homelessness. So that's part of our programming. Once they come to us, and by the way, where they have implemented this in other cities and across the United States, the recidivism rate, or those going back into the ER room, has been reduced between 50 and 70%.
Now, speaking of the Affordable Care Act, are you, as part of your case management, working to get these folks signed up through Covered California or through the Medicaid expansion?
Absolutely.
And how's that going?
Well, once we get it open, I can tell you more, because it will open first quarter of next year. But that's one of the first things we'll immediately do is get them connected with Medi-Cal and then a primary care physician so that they don't have to go back to the hospitals. That's why we're also opening up a health clinic on site. So right there on site, we will connect them to a primary care physician.
His name is Ken Kraft. He is the executive director of Hope of the Valley Rescue Mission. Website is hopeofthevalley.org. My name is Brad Pomerance. I want to thank you so much for watching Time Warner Cable's local edition.